Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome back, Raghunath. I've been back from a week of travel, and Kastuba has been taking over the reins of the ship for a whole week. How did that go, Kastuba?
Was it just a week? Was it longer? So it was a long stretch.
I can't remember, Kastuba.
Yeah, it was a long stretch.
Oh, it was a longer stretch.
Yeah. Well, you know, it wasn't the same without you, Raghunath. That's what I'll say. It was. We brought in some wonderful guests, but it just wasn't the same.
I had incredible journeys. It was like boom, 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 like the old days. Just like every night you wake up in a different place. Last 2 nights we had these incredible ones with at Bhakti SF with John B. Harrison. We did 2 gigs there. Hung out with Kent Putnam. He's cool.
Oh,
That was
nice.
wonderful. The whole San Francisco scene is like, you know who showed up? Shama Sundar showed up at the program, and he wrote me a sweet message.
Original devotee, right?
Original
Goes
Shama
back to the
Sundar. It was
earliest
very
days.
beautiful. One day, I mean, my days were so peculiar. One day I did the Revelation Records parking lot picnic, where we did a book signing. Then I went right to Neil Shah's father's funeral.
I'm so happy you were able to attend that.
Oh, it was
Neil
great.
Shah is one of our everyday listeners for years and years.
And his wife, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, and he's
Bhantika.
he's an Indian guy that grew up in Huntington Beach and was not really that connected to a spiritual path. And then he heard Jonavi CD, and then Jonavi was interviewed on our show. And he was like, "Oh, these American guys are interviewing her," and then he just got hooked into the podcast on a regular basis.
Look at that.
Yeah, and it changed.
And then you did the program with Genevieve.
Well, yeah, and then that happened. No, then that night I did a whole hardcore show. I went from a funeral to a hardcore show.
Yeah.
These Indian funerals are just sort of like you say prayers and you just get together with family. It's like days of grievance. And then they made a bunch of great Gujarati food.
Oh, nice.
Gujarati prasad. That was really nice too.
Did they have those little patra, that little kind of that leaf that's rolled up with the filling inside and they're cutting the little like coin kind of things?
They had a lot of dokla. That's what they had.
Dokla. Or that other one that
I've become
really
a
love.
dokla fan.
What's that one where you make it with chickpea flour and then you roll it up and then you pour a little chunks on it?
I don't know that one.
Oh, it's slipping my mind right now. That's a good one.
Then I hung out with all the book publisher crew at Mandala. They were great.
Oh yeah, that's great. They were happy that it's being well received. Kandvi, thank you, Danga Kandvi. That's that.
Kanvi.
Yeah.
And then Yamuna Jelly showed up with 10 people in her van from from the South Bay, or she lives south of San Francisco. She brought me jelly gifts, not jello.
Oh, nice.
Jelly.
Any for me?
Gifts of jelly. Well, she said these are for Kastuba, but I want you to give them to him. So I think she meant just take them.
Is that how that works? And then the last program is at the Castro
room. Yeah, that was a big, a beautiful hall in San Francisco.
I was a little concerned when I heard that you were Doing a
Fidel
program at
Castro,
the
is that why?
Castro Room, Raghu. Comrade Raghu. Tell the truth. What's going on in there?
You want to give a shout out to Kumi, who has this beautiful studio. She set up a big kirtan program down there. Kumi, and then in San Diego at the Krishna House, and we just meet all these others again and again. And Madhavi Priya set that one up in San Diego. Mukunda Kishore, who's never misses an episode in San Diego. He drove me around the whole week. And Yugala Kishore and his nice wife, Braj Mandala, never missed shows. Also, they just drove around and filmed the whole thing. It was
People were
really
taking good care of you, it sounds like.
I was taken care of despite all the traveling and stuff like that. It was quite wonderful.
Beautiful.
And got to meet so many people, to distribute books, sell books. And yeah, it was great. It was a great time. I want to read a Krishna miracle I got from Arumar yesterday. Arumar is our longtime listener from before the show was a show.
Mm.
He said he has a Christian girlfriend, and he said my Christian girlfriend found this house I'm renting in Leesburg starting last month. It's about an hour from everything. It's best known for Bassmasters fishing tournaments. My landlord was over today about a plumbing issue. Now, I met her before, and she knew I was much older. I knew she
The
was
plumber
much.
is a lady.
No, she was just, I don't know, checking out an issue, the landlord.
Oh, the landlord, okay.
So now I met her before. I knew she was a much older Indian-bodied lady, but I don't go around asking anyone their religion. But she was almost in tears. She said, I'm so happy to see Lord Krishna in the window.
Oh, that's nice.
I showed her my altar, and she pointed out to Prabhupada on my altar, and she hugged me. And like any other Indian Mataji, she said she is already she's already welcoming me into her family, and already started inviting me to India and Vrindavan, and
Whoa,
and to
that's
stay
incredible.
with her and her sister's family.
I got a feeling there's going to be some good food coming out of this too. Some prasad.
Yeah, that's my type of landlord.
Really?
Krishna's arrangement, he found motherly devotee as my landlord. Only a year removed from my first rental place. Krishna arranged in Florida, living next to Rama.
Well, so he moved on to that island that got hit by the hurricane.
Yeah.
And that seemed like a disaster. But now see how it moved, just see the way things work.
Krishna is leading all of us.
That's what we just have to have that faith.
You have to have that faith. If I'm holding on to something very tightly, I can't pick something else up. So sometimes we have to let go of things. We're like, I got to let go of this. Why, Krishna, don't take this away. And then we drop sort of like a stone. It might be an attractive stone to pick up a giant pearl or a giant diamond. Krishna's got plans for us. And we just got to trust that Krishna does have a plan. And sometimes that plan is, you know what? Wait.
Be patient.
Percolate.
Be patient.
Be patient.
Realize that you're not in control. Right? Realize that we can't control the exit. We can only do so much.
Yeah.
Be patient. See how you can process it.
A lot comes in that waiting process too.
Mm-hmm. The growth can happen there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And in that waiting process, you just get to think about stuff, and you get to test your own boundaries of your mind, because your mind will start to complain, your mind will start to blame, your mind will start to go to other people. That's where you really got to apply these spiritual principles. Wait, be tolerant, take shelter of Krishna.
Interesting, Raghunath.
See what's supposed to grow out of this.
Very interesting.
The waiting process is fertile time for happy things to grow, but you can't put diversions in the waiting process. You can't put drugs or alcohol or affairs or you can't get the mind distracted. It's just you got to wait with Krishna. Put Krishna in that waiting process, and then so many beautiful things will sprout from that garden.
It's interesting. It's making me think. I wish I knew more about Indian music and ragas and all of that.
We're gonna have to come back and take birth.
Yeah, but when I think of like Western music, commonly it builds up to a tension, and then there's a resolution, like boom, right?
Like clobber in time from Sick of It All. Clobbering time.
Yeah, clobbering time. Exactly what I was thinking of. And then, and then, and then, I don't know so much about ragas, but it seems like it's a different thing. It's like you spend some time in this space, and I think we have this tension in our life, and we have some faith, and we're hoping that like born straight out of the tension is like the transformation that we aspire for. But actually, you're right. It takes like there's a tension, and then there's a period of patience that's there that where there's this processing takes place, and it's through that processing that the growth takes place, and then there's a resolution that comes down the road, and then you look back at the whole thing and you understand the tension that took place like a long time ago, like, oh, that was meant for the growth that I went through.
Sure. And when you look back on that waiting period,
Yeah.
It's all like this weird little test. Like, did you apply this
Yeah.
stuff?
Right.
Did you apply this stuff? And you're like, oh man, I went through it, but I didn't apply it. Damn, that was my chance.
Yeah.
You got to
I'm
really
gonna have to go
apply
through it
that
again.
stuff. You got to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I just sat there in anxiety constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
Yeah,
the
well,
latest.
welcome
So
back.
we
Welcome
have some
back.
announcements. The first announcement's about our Italy. Our Italy trip is we're going to Italy, people. If you want to get away with the summer, join us. Go to wisdomofthesages.com/events, and we have a really great annual Italy pilgrimage. Great for
Is
families.
Amy
family,
Steller coming? Is that what that
family
waving
friendly.
was? Yes. Oh, Amy
Somebody-
Steller's
yeah.
coming. Okay,
Zoomers
great.
are waving, and there's the chief. He's coming. My kids are all coming. Karuna.
It almost wouldn't be the same now without Lori and the Chief. They're like,
No, that's their annual,
Yeah.
sort of their spiritual anniversary.
yeah.
You know what? It's good. It's good if you have a person, a partner, suppose that you sort of like want to get into Krishna consciousness,
Bring it to
but
Italy.
they're sick of you preaching to them. It's like, stop preaching to me, please. Just say, hey, you want to go on a trip to Italy? And then you bring them to Italy, and it really has this. You're caught up in the beauty of Italy. I call it an easy in.
Okay.
Instead of saying, hey, let's go to India, you say, let's go to Italy. It sounds a lot less overwhelming.
More eat and less pray.
Yeah, but it's peppered with pray.
That's
And
there.
there's a little love in there. So that's a good one.
A lot of love in there. A lot of love.
And Kostuba's coming with me in India to the India pilgrimage this year. So we get double trouble.
All right.
And Mara will be there. You get the whole team there for India this
What
year.
I was just realizing is it's been so long since I've been to Jagannath Puri.
It's going to be good, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Last time we were there, we were at Toda Gopinath for a cry fest.
I think the last time I was there was it was over 20 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, it's waiting for you.
All right.
So it's going to be there. And also, we want to announce the Wisdom of the Sages retreat at Super Soul Farm Memorial Day weekend. Come on down. Welcome spring with us. And we'll have singing and chanting and classes and feasting.
Okay. For all of
probably
that.
Probably some vegan meatballs from Miss Mara, the chef.
She does that usually. For all of that, they can go to wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. No, they can go to wisdomofthesages.com/events.
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty. Any other announcements, Missy?
Bhakti Recovery Group meetings today at sorry, I had it in my head. Bhakti Recovery Group meetings
9?
today at noon and 1:30.
Noon and 1:30.
Yep.
Okay. Alrighty.
Here's your nugget.
Here's the nugget for today. Are you ready?
Who's it from?
The nugget's from Amy Poehler.
Amy Poehler. Yeah. You know who she is?
I don't.
You don't know who she is?
Is she a comedian?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like a Saturday Night Live person.
Oh, she's a Saturday Night Live comedian. Yeah, she's very funny.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? There's a country western guy. Anyway, let's get into it. What's his name?
You got to pull it together here, Roga. Otherwise, you know what we do?
What?
Uh-oh.
Oh, you got a squirrel.
That's called a squirrel when you go off topic like that. Okay, I got one of these now, and I'm ready to
All
call
right.
you out at any moment. Thanks to
Okay,
Martine for
all right,
sending me
all right,
this
that's right.
lovely squirrel. Oh, yeah.
Okay, here's a nugget. I want to be around people that do things. I don't want to be around people anymore that judge or talk about what people do. I want to be around people that dream and support and do things.
Thank you.
You know what? I feel that so much. It's like, I think, and I guess this happens, but whenever you're like a doer in this world, there's always someone trying to undo your doing. They're trying to like take that envy is such a real thing in the material world when you're creating or stepping out, going out on a limb, or just creating something in this world. You get a lot of accolades, and that's a nice thing. Hey, congratulations! And then you always get the person be like, "Oh, that stinks," or they're trying to undermine what you're never
Haters.
sincere. Or undermine anything, and it's this envy that they have, and I feel like people that are doing things in the world, they don't have time for that. They're trying to like just create stuff, and I'm feeling that as well too, right now because the book just came out, and I get a lot of appreciation, which is
Have
it's
there been
nice to
haters
get.
for the book already?
You're always gonna find it. You're
Okay.
always gonna find it. That exists whenever you do anything in this world.
Yeah.
And I see that happen with like, just people that we know that are great people doing great things. They're always going to be people trying to take them down. And if they can't take them down legitimately, they'll fabricate something about them. And
Yeah, they
that'll
do that
just
too.
happen. I
What
remember when
I-
we put out our first shelter record, and it sort of got a little big. Not our first one, but the one that got bigger. We were all monks. Like we were good boys. We were
boys.
we were good boys in line, putting out, creating music. And when they couldn't find any dirt on us, they just made up dirt. Yeah, these
Hmm.
guys, they're just trying to get people into Krishna, but really they themselves, they've got like these video games in the basement of the temple. They're doing all this, they make up crazy stuff that wasn't true anyway.
Well, you
It's
know
just,
what when I saw this article, what I thought
what do you think?
was that more than ever, due to the internet and social media,
Yeah.
people have become critics. In other words, like if you go back to when we were growing up, right? Like you'd have like rock bands and then you'd have rock critics, right? And
Professional critics.
yeah, and sometimes rock critics have a lot to share and they can help you have deeper insights into the music and so on. But
I never liked them.
because you're a musician. but the fact is that so much of it is really useless, just criticism, just someone tearing someone else down, pointing out all the faults in someone. And I think back then it was almost just like it was almost like commonly felt that, I'm not trying to put anyone down that does that, but there was a little bit of like, I don't know, shame in that game. It's like you can't be a musician, so you become a critic, and then you just become this person that just has like a lot of negative stuff to say, that just to sell your magazine, you have to say some nasty stuff about someone, and then people, you know what I'm saying? It was like,
Yeah.
what?
It sells.
Yeah.
Gossip sells.
Exactly. And it was a little bit ignoble. Like, I'm not saying all rock critics, but there's a certain type of something,
Arrogance.
unvirtuous about the role of being a critic.
It's like you were above the musician. Well, just all right.
But you hadn't earned it.
Put a cork in your mouth and write your own music.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what I feel like saying.
create
Put a
some better
cork
music.
in your little mouth
Yeah.
and write your own music.
Yeah, so create some better music if
It's
rather
like
than
you
just,
have to be some like a malefic planet hovering around me, like a malefic moon.
and
Create
let's
your own stuff.
well let's be clear.
Malefic moon. That's a good name for a planet.
There would be like critics that were like really qualified journalists, that really learned to write and really had deep insight and had something valuable to share. But because as you were saying, like because of this, because like gossip sells or dirt sells or just negativity sells, because it reaches out to that lower nature in the human being, and they have a hard time resisting responding to it. You know, probably more of these critics are producing negative kind of stuff than really truly insightful stuff, and it becomes seen as a little bit ignoble. What the internet did, and then social media just like really did, was it made everyone could become the journalist and everyone could become the critic without any qualification.
It's horrible.
Right? And now everybody's a critic, and everybody's got negative stuff to share, and it just creates a whirlwind of, and what happens now is we actually criticize the critics, like, and rather than anybody actually doing something, we're all just criticizing each other's critiques.
It's what a horrible swarm of beings.
And therefore, what I like what she's saying is, I like to be around people that do things, even if it's a little thing, even if it's a small thing. Just do something. Plant a seed in the ground. You know, just like, do the simplest thing.
Yes.
Yeah. She says, I don't want to be around people anymore that judge or talk about what people do.
Right.
Do something yourself. Don't just be a critic. Do something, a little thing even. And what you'll find is that it makes your life so much more real and so much like more, it's so much more nurturing. Is that the word I'm looking for? It's like healing, just to like turn off all the whirlwind of the nourish. Yeah, it's edifying,
Edifying.
just to do something positive in the world, no matter how big or small. Fill your time up with that.
Yeah, unless you're yes. This is for me. Chuta wrote on the message board, it's the perfect storm for learning how to be equipoised. Because it's like right now, because my book just came out, you can have like a whole bunch of like positive comments on your Instagram. Then you get one guy or like, you stink. You stinky faker, and it's just like that one thing could just like throw you off.
Been reading the reviews, the Amazon reviews.
And not only that, you have to almost be above the praise as well.
Yeah,
because the praise brings you into another bubble of like,
now
I am
deep in the duality world.
Yeah, you have to be like, I just did my duty. I'm just creating for the sake of creating. And when you get into the praise, then you're more sensitive to the people trying to take you down. So you got to sort of be above it. And because when the criticism comes, it really throws the ego off as well.
Mm-hmm. And within the realm of bhakti practice, it becomes so important. Like this is devotees do this. Us neophyte devotees, we get caught up in cycles of just going online, finding out what other people are saying about bhakti, criticizing it, feeling like we're superior to them. They criticize back. You just get in these cycles. Why not just do something yourself?
And
why not just practice?
These back and forths, like I'm going to change their mind right now, and they'll go back and forth in the political ones.
Somehow it doesn't work. Yeah, but it just draws your mind into that lower level whereas your mind could be so purified, so nourished, so edified by even in the smallest way, just doing your own practice, just getting really into your own practice. Just picking up one of these books and reading it and becoming deeply absorbed in it, thinking about it, speaking to a friend about it, sharing your thoughts back and forth about it. That's something. You're doing something now. You know what? I do that every day. Now you're really doing something. It's just like whatever it is. It might be small. Just leave the critique. I'm not saying that there's no purview for constructive criticism. That's certainly there. But we're all caught up in just whirlwinds of just constant criticism and not doing anything, Have to do something. All right.
Are rock critics giving constructive criticism?
No, sometimes rock critics, they have great insight into the music. They might really know things that we don't know, notice things we don't notice, draw connections we're not drawing. Like that's
Maybe. But it
Yeah,
always
it's there.
hurts if they say that this is nothing compared to their last album.
It's like, thanks.
That hurts. It's like saying you had a baby. You're like, yeah, well, you had a baby, but the last baby was much cuter than this baby. It hurt. Every like record you put out there, it's almost like
Put your heart and soul into it.
Put your heart and soul into it.
Okay. I saw
constructive.
there's one really famous athlete and he retired. And then people are expecting, oh, that guy's. It's just natural that he'll go into the, become an announcer, whatever. You know how these athletes commonly become
Oh yes,
commentators.
yeah, sure.
And he said, I don't want to do that because I know what it's like to be an athlete and just having these guys judge what you do and talk. So I don't want to take that role.
Oh, that's good.
Interesting.
Become a
Yeah.
coach. How about a coach?
Yeah,
Coach
you
little
could-
league or
I think the problem with becoming a coach is they gotta travel just as much as the athletes do.
yeah. There's no retirement. Well, big deal. They're only like
Some of
30,
them become coaches.
35. They're retiring at 36.
Yeah, but your whole life is spent on the road. You just
Yeah. Welcome to my world.
You
Cuba.
changed it. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's get back in the box.
I don't even know where we are, friend.
Well, you chant the mantras and we'll get you there.
Okay. Mara disappeared.
Oh, she's gone, huh? She's not doing the takeaways.
Naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraya. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, and to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is loving service to the Supreme Lord, who's why am I hitting a wall here? Whose praise
By
and transcendental
devotion.
songs
Yeah,
we establish as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyanat Timurandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
So
By the
you
way,
went-
Kastuba, I just want you to know that
Wow.
many people came up to me on this trip and go, "Hey, Raghunath, I doubled it."
There you go.
As a matter of fact, I would love to see a show on the message board if you did double it, because it was pretty interesting. If you didn't get my book, go to Amazon.com. And if you did get it, write a review. And if you doubled it, let us know right now. Okay. Henry Shulkoff, he he bought like 20 copies to give to friends.
Who did that?
A lot of people bought a lot of copies.
That's great.
He bought 10. There was a limit on Amazon how many you could buy because they think you're a bot, and then you're trying to they think you're trying to hoard them and then raise the price.
No. What they think you're doing is actually they think you're trying to increase the sales to make it a bestseller.
No.
Yeah, no, that's because you know who did that? That was the strategy of
That's not
what's that? L. Ron Hubbard and what is that called? Scientology.
That's not why they're doing it. I've talked.
I
to
think so.
I've talked to the professionals. They think you're bots. They trying to think you're hoard the product. Then you open another account, and sell them. And there's a crazy AI book. Do not buy it. Did you see that? The AI Ray Capo's life story book. That's on Amazon.
You've been replaced.
You
spent all this time writing this book.
There's a different face that sort of looks like
a different face.
Slightly better looking than me too. That's the sad part.
Okay, Raghunath, this right here. This is called a squirrel. Okay, we're squirreling off.
Okay, do not buy the fake Ray Capo book.
All right, Raghunath. So we're in this reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, entitled "What Sri Prahlad Learned in the Womb." Little Prahlad, when he was in the womb, he learned this stuff. Now he's out of the womb.
Mm-hmm.
He's sharing it with his little friends, and he described the practice of bhakti, beginning just with you're not this body and understanding all that, and then building up to like the real practice of bhakti. Like service to Guru. Bringing your mind, and then Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, all of that. He spoke about that. And he said through that, you'll be able to see God within the heart of every living being. That connection was drawn there, that this isn't just like religious, that you have faith and then you're saved. But he said, no, you'll get this deep realization that you'll see God within the heart of every. Here, this was text 32. It
I
said,
missed a lot of these good verses.
Beautiful verses, Raghunath. One should always remember the Supreme Personality of God in its localized representation as the Paramatma, who is situated in the core of every living entity's heart. Thus, one should offer respects to every living entity according to that living entity's position or manifestation. We spoke about that last show. And then we had text 33, which shows the result of that. Now we're getting into this. Text 33 is going to show, or it did show, because we read this already too. It shows the primary and the secondary results of the practice of bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
The secondary results are stuff that is really good. Like we just got the secondary results. It's like such an accomplishment. You become freed from the 6 enemies, Raghunath: lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then the primary result is that in this way, one surely attains the platform of loving service to the Supreme Lord, called rati. And he had spoken about rati before, this attachment, this like loving attachment that one feels in the heart for God and through God for every living being. That's the result of bhakti. That's why it's performed. Not for moksha, right? Not for any of the things of this world, for karma, not for moksha, not for just getting like this peace and relief from the sufferings of this world. It's actually this divine love that one can attain. And today's text 34, goes into detail about what one experiences in that state of consciousness. Want to hit it? Text 34.
Just realized, like, in my astrological chart, I have the combination of planets called moksha yoga.
Oh yeah, I remember Drew Lawrence saying that means you're like. It almost sounded like you're done. Like
I know, but am I done? Like, am I?
No, but then he said, "I said that. Does that mean he can do whatever he wants?"
I want pure devotional service. I don't want moksha.
Okay. I said, does that mean he can do everything he wants? He said, no.
I thought he said, do whatever you want. You're good.
No, you got to go back to that. I forget what episode. He said
you get a pass. Whatever happens is going to work out.
No,
anyway.
Okay, text 34.
Here's 34. One who is situated in devotional service is certainly the controller of his senses. And thus he is liberated. He's a liberated person. When such liberated persons, the pure devotee hears of when such a liberated person, the pure devotee, hears of the transcendental qualities and activities of the Lord's incarnations for the performance of various pastimes, his hair stands on end on the end of his body, and tears fall from his eyes. And in his spiritual realization, his voice falters. Sometimes he very openly dances. Sometimes he sings loudly, and sometimes he cries. Thus, he expresses his transcendental jubilation.
Okay.
So this is how the Bhakti Yogi controls the senses. We use our senses to serve Krishna. It's interesting because once you think of a yogi controlling the senses, you think of some skinny as a rail guy fasting, and he's sitting in one place and he's wearing just a rag. No, everything is now used in the service of the Lord. You don't have to wear a rag. You can dress very beautifully, but you're not doing it for your ego. You're doing it I want to dress up nice in service of the Lord. I want to cook and eat delicious foods, but I want to do it because I'm making this beautiful offering to the Lord. I want to, even you keep your home nice and clean, not just because, when people come over, I don't want them to think I'm a pig. You're keeping it clean because it's your temple. And everything is just shifted in the consciousness. But all those things which usually go to the ego are now going to your own personal enlightenment. It's not cutting away. It's not being a tyagi or a renunciate. It's real renunciation.
Yeah. And then look at the results. Prahlad here is saying that these results, they almost look like a person who's like a materialist. They're crying. They're getting all excited.
Cry. Materialists cry and get excited.
Yeah, materialists, you're asking me?
Yeah.
Of course they do. You know, in other words, the stereotypical idea of the liberated person.
Oh, I get it.
They're beyond crying about this and being excited about that. They have this even mind.
Boys. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but here that, they're getting all so excited that like they got goosebumps. They're that excited, they got tears in their eyes. Their voice is faltering. They can't even speak because, they're dancing around and chanting. Oh, that, you know, when Sri Chaitanya, this is Chaitanya Charitamrita, this most important, super elevated, you know, text about bhakti, the life of Sri Chaitanya and the teachings of bhakti. It describes this time where Sri Chaitanya, as a bhakti yogi sannyasi, right? So he's wearing the clothes of the sannyasi, of the renunciate, the orange cloth and the shaved head. And he goes to Varanasi, which was like the stronghold of the Mayavadi sannyasis, the impersonal sannyasis, the ones that, you know, who deny the form of God. They think everything is one. Any type of form is illusion. God has no form. Ultimately, we are all part of that one energy, and our individuality is an illusion. All of that it's all an illusion. They hear about, oh, there's this new sannyasi that's visiting the town.
There's a new sannyasi in town.
And all these people are getting interested in him.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he's very, first of all, aesthetically, he's very tall and beautiful.
He's very beautiful to see. And he was singing and dancing through the town and crying.
Which sannyasis don't usually do. They're a little bit more stoic, a little bit more priestly. This one's crying. He's falling on his knees. He's got a beautiful voice. He's gorgeous.
He's singing songs that almost sound like, it almost sounds like he's singing just like romantic songs, you know? Like he's just caught up in mundane romance or something like that. They were like, this is not the right way that a sannyasi is supposed to behave. There's is wrong.
Behavior. You're supposed to be a little bit stoic, a little bit cold.
This is kind of screwing up the whole dharma, you know?
Yeah.
You're
making us look bad, Lord Chaitanya.
This is not the way that it, and there are some devotees that really understood him there in town. They're kind of hosting him. I get you. They were hearing these criticisms, and it was breaking their hearts. They're just like,
don't go breaking my heart, because yeah, when you fall in love with somebody, then it kills you to hear criticism about him.
Yeah, and so they were hoping that he could somehow speak with them and influence them, and so because of seeing the broken hearts of those that were his devotees, Sri Chaitanya went to a gathering where all of these, there are a lot of them. You'd have to imagine like they're all like these stoic, hardcore renunciates. You know, they're deeply into philosophy. They kind of rooted out all sentimentality out of their hearts and out of their minds. And they get together and they discuss Vedanta Sutra. You know, they get into this.
Endorses it can endorse a type of coldness from the material world.
Their interpretation of it did. Yeah. And so they get into these very technical, philosophical conversations, you know. And Sri Chaitanya goes to that gathering, and rather than kind of like, he had two things that he spoke to them. Well, part of it was his learning.
I wish I could be a fly on the wall in that gathering.
Oh man, it's so beautiful. He eventually he speaks to them. So it's through his learning that he convinces them. But right from the beginning, there are two things that caught the attention and kind of opened the hearts of the Mayavadi sannyasis. And that was,
what were they? His
beauty and his humility, right?
Beauty can open the heart. Like, who is this beautiful man?
Not only was he beautiful, but he was actually like effulgent, like literally effulgent, like he was glowing, like beyond. It was like, whoa, I've never seen that ever happen before. Like his body was glowing. Sure. And so that caught their attention. But also he didn't walk into the middle of the thing and said, you're all wrong and I'm right. Right. He sat down in the most humble place. He sat down like off to the side where like everyone puts their shoes and stuff. It's like not even where everybody washes their feet. It's kind of like considered like the worst seat in the house, you know. Right. And certainly sannyasis are generally shown some respect and a bit of the protocol is generally they're given some nice seat and, you know, a bit of prestige. He sat down in the very most humble of seats, and he just started glowing. And they came to him, And that made them approach him rather than just saying, hey, you guy that's doing the wrong thing, that's screwing up the Dharma.
Sure.
Rather than approach that way, they kind of approach like, we don't understand you. You know, you're obviously like a special person. Why don't you come and spend time with us? And why are you doing these things? Why are you dancing and
Well,
crying?
I
And
think in our circles, Kostuba, as long as
Yeah.
we've been around, we've met people who
Yes.
are just embody this deep humility. And humility is not a fake thing like, okay, today I'm going to act humble. It's like when you actually see your position and you become like soft when you see you're part of something much bigger. You're not the center. It's not about you. When you meet people like that, it's so attractive.
There's something to humility is based on deep realization, true humility. We can act with humility, and that's a good thing.
That's pretty good. Unless
But
you're using it as a manipulation.
Okay. Well, then you're not really acting with that.
Then you're not being humble.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the deep humility, there's a depth of realization, a depth of understanding in it that my happiness and my well-being is not dependent on my achieving a false position in this world, being seen in a particular way, holding a position, being seen in a particular way. My happiness is entirely disconnected from that. And so I don't need to pursue those things. Now I can actually be truly, I'm just a tiny little spark.
Spark.
But I'm a spark of pure ananda. I'm a spark of bliss. I don't need to fight or compete or establish myself in any way to feel. As a matter of fact, when I do that, I'm an illusion and I lose touch with my bliss. I lose touch with that natural bliss that I have. So yeah, the person that's got the real depth of realization, they're humble. They're not out to try to, what do people call it? Steal your thunder, or
oh yeah, what's that called? I love that phrase.
Is that what it is? Steal your thunder?
Marigo. Steal your thunder. Don't steal my thunder.
Yeah, I think it's steal my thunder. Or compete for something that has no value, and so then they're humble. So they saw him sitting there like that. He wasn't thinking, I need the fancy seat.
Where's the fancy seat?
Give me the fancy seat.
Bring me the fancy seat.
So then they brought him in there, and then he gave.
I feel like it's awkward to be on that fancy seat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so then they brought him in. They invited him in, and then he began to speak the Bhakti Vedanta, the devotional understanding of Vedanta Sutra.
Vedanta, the Veda, the conclusion of the Veda.
Yeah.
Is Bhakti.
Yeah, Bhakti Vedanta.
It's great.
And
Bhakti Vedanta.
Yeah. And so then they were really moved by that. And you know what they said? They said, like, Prakashananda Saraswati was the name of the lead sannyasi, like the guru of everyone. But I believe it said like his kind of number two man, like his, like the next, like his best student, his best student. He got up and he said, the way that you've now explained Vedanta, these commentaries on the Vedanta, when we use the word Vedanta, most commonly people are referring to the Upanishads, right? Like, because they come at the end of the Vedas. Like there's the four Vedas, and attached to each of the four Vedas are different Upanishads, which are the Vedanta. And Shankara, the very super incredibly influential sannyasi and philosopher, he took certain verses, certain sutras, and he called them, these are Mahavakyas. These are like the big instructions, right? Like our teachers, like Jiva Goswami, who commented on, said he kind of randomly did that. He chose certain ones and said they all need to be seen in relation to these ones. But Sri Caitanya said, no, you're calling that the Mahavakya. That's not the Mahavakya. You're misunderstanding the whole thing. Like, Tattvamasi, famous sutras like this. He said, no, they can be understood. You can understand this all as very consistent with an understanding that ultimately there's one supreme, Nityo, Nityanam, Chaitanya, Chaitanya. There's one supreme being that all other living beings are sustained by. We're all conscious by nature. We're all eternal by nature, but some of us, these little sparks, are maintained by the one original energy. That's the origin of all, and that's Krishna. And so in this way, he explained Vedanta in a way that they'd never heard it before. And they're like, whoa. And so that disciple got up and he said, hearing this explanation from you of Vedanta, we haven't heard it like this before. This is like a shower of nectar on us, and he said, and it's kind of like all along when we were talking about Vedanta in this impersonal, non-personal way, it was like we're eating dry rice cakes, like they have those things like we have nowadays, like just a dry, it's got no flavor, it's no sweetness in it.
It changes everything. Something that just changes it. Just like that movie Sixth Sense. Ever see that? Sixth Sense. The whole time he's talking with this kid, and the little kid is like, "I see dead people. I see dead people." And the whole thing is like, and then
how did we get
to the end?
How did we get to
no?
Children
Because at the end of the movie, it's sort of like he was always dead the entire time. You're like, what? And you're like, I gotta watch this whole movie again now. The whole time he was the dead
you got to go back and look at it in a whole new way.
You look at it differently. So I'm just saying it's one of those paradigm shifts where it's like,
Brother, that was a real what do they call that? A spoiler.
Well, I know, but the movie's 30 years old. I can give a spoiler.
Spoil it now.
But it's one of those things, like it changes the way you look at the entire movie now. So when you studied Vedanta, you've done it for years, you've been memorized the verses, you've taken up the tradition, you've become a sannyasi, you've given up the world, and all of a sudden, I see dead people. And what? The thing is devotional?
Right. Yeah, there's a God and I'm not God.
I'm not God.
But it's okay.
We can eat delicious foods if we offer it to God. Why am I wearing this? I'm going to buy a fancy kurta now.
You even could.
You could wear fancy kurtas for God.
And still be completely God realized. So in any case, this verse is saying we're hearing this. We're running out of time now, Raghunath, but tomorrow we'll hear more about this. These little kids, maybe they had some little understanding of Vedanta, and they thought that the liberated people, they're not. Isn't this duality like singing and dancing and crying and all that? No. This is the other end. This is when you come out the other end. There's Brahman realization, and then there's Paramatma realization. Ultimately, there's Bhagavan. And when you feel that, the love and the ecstasy that you feel, you get these involuntary symptoms of bliss. You get goosebumps, and your tears start to pour from your eyes, and you can't help but dance and sing. It's almost like, it's not even like you're choosing to do it. That's what Sri Caitanya was saying to the sannyasi. It's not like I choose to do this, but my guru said I was a fool. I didn't understand anything. And he said, just chant this mantra. And when I chant this mantra, this is what I feel. And it just takes over.
It's something that happens when you go to a kirtan. You can't put your finger on it. You just chant this mantra.
Is that what it was like in the Castro room, comrade?
It was. Everybody was feeling it.
Now, am I the guy today that has to do the music, or do you have?
I've got some takeaways. You're gonna have to do the music. I'll do the takeaways.
Okay.
Mara left. She had to go to the doctor's appointment today. And
she okay?
Here's the takeaways. She's okay. She's okay. Have faith that Krishna is leading all of us. That's a takeaway. Okay. Drop the pretty stone to pick up a diamond.
Did we talk about that?
I said that in the beginning.
Okay.
This is from Ananga. Criticism and praise can draw you deep into the duality world. That's right.
Yeah.
Realize we aren't in control.
Realize we're not in control. Yeah.
Realize we aren't in control. That's a boring one.
No, Raghunath. Don't you see? You just judged it, and you became the critic.
No, it's not. No, I'm saying it's boring because we hear that every day. We get that.
No. There was a lot there in that.
I know. It's just like saying
simple.
believe in God.
It's a sutra. It's a sutra, but it's worth meditating
it's a
on.
duh. It's a duh.
No. If you go
It's a
duh, then you don't go
two-syllable
into
duh.
deep. If you just say duh without really thinking about it, then you don't go into the depth of
Realize
it.
we aren't in control. Okay.
We walk around as if we are in control.
Growth. Shh. There is growth in the waiting process. I like that.
Okay, in the waiting process. Nice.
Plant a seed in the ground. Don't
Do
just
something.
be a critic.
Yeah, plant a seed in the ground. Water the
Plant a
thing.
seed. Plant a seed. Water the seed. Be equipoised through the criticism and the praise.
Rogan, you didn't do an and.
And double it. Thanks, everybody.
You don't have to double it.
Thanks for joining us. You do. You have to double it. If you really want to attain God enlightenment, you must double it. Double your bhakti for double the fun.
The other day we had Danya on the show.
Oh, yeah?
And when we played this song, we asked her, like, were you in the room? You know, she's like, yeah, I sang on this one. And we said, I asked, you would have liked it. I said, when you were all in there, did you realize what a masterpiece you were all creating? Did you all... Are you even listening to me right now? What are you doing?
I am.
Talk to me. Look at me. We're almost done with the show. You almost made it, okay?
I got a thing.
Okay, go. And I said, did you all realize what a masterpiece you're creating? She said, actually, the fact is we did. You could feel it in the room that some special magic was happening.
Wow. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to be in Boston doing a yoga workshop at Back Bay Boston Yoga Union. And also then we're doing a book signing at Bridge 9 in Beverly. Bridge 9 is a record store.
You're back on the road again.
Yep, I'm out this weekend. And then
We're
I'm
going to do the show, though,
I'm going to England the following week, next week.
Get out. What?
Yeah. Surprise!
All right, well, you got to still do the show on the weekend, though, right?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm setting it up. We're going to do it. The music's cutting out, Kastuba. You cannot...
I don't know. I'm doing the best I can.
Because you're
holding the thing out.
Look what I got. Somebody sent me.
What is that? You froze, Sargon.
Oh.
What was it? What was it?
They sent me a little sound box to make different noises.
Oh, you don't need that. That's for sure. That's the mother of all squirrels right there. So forget about it. This is what I do now. I'm just going like this.
Oh my God. I'm happy to be back. I really sort of missed the show.
Good to have you back, brother.
Yeah. And yeah, it just makes me realize the more we travel, the more we realize that there's a community all over the nation, all over the world.
Beautiful,
quite wonderful
people.
Great community of people. What else do I want to say? I had some very important things I wanted to share.
Yeah, go ahead.
Italy, Wisdom of the Sages. Next January, we got Mridanga School. We got Kirtan Academy. We got Mridanga School. And then we have Wisdom of the Sages. We have Wisdom of the Sages in Mayapur. And we have 300 Hour. It's going to be a Maha January.
Oh.
You want to learn Mridanga? You want to learn Kirtan? Those are two separate courses. My little 10-year-old is going to be in India with me. Looking forward to that. Wisdom training is
Wisdom training will be there, Amy. Yeah.
We should do an ashram week at the farm this year again. What do you think?
Down.
Why don't you come up? You teach ashram week.
In August or something?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Why don't you come up and do the whole thing?
Do the whole thing.
I'm happy to come up there and do something. You want to schedule some for August? Let's do it.
All right. Alrighty. Let's do it. August is gorgeous up here.
It's gorgeous.
Right now we're in like spring, fall spring.
Hey, we got Nadia here today. Nadia back.
Hey, Nadia.
She wasn't there when you said hello in the morning, right?
Yeah, we got some like Dr. Charlie's here. John Branson's here. Manish G is here. Libby Black is here. Nityananda Chandra is here. Anyway, there's this famous What's his name?
Famous what?
There's this famous country western guy who's into Krishna consciousness that follows me. Got like
Really?
millions of followers.
Country western.
Yeah. Tyler Childs, I think. I gotta look him up right now.
What's his name?
I'll tell you.
Is he from Ireland?
I don't know, but he does have reddish hair. Okay, it's Tyler Childers. Got
Say it again,
1.4
Tyler.
million
Yeah.
followers.
Is that the person that we met there in Berlin? Maybe I think that maybe.
No, that's like a hardcore guy, I think.
Tyler Childers.
Tyler Childers.
Okay, Tyler.
I'm gonna start liking all his stuff.
Okay, it's Raghunath. It's a beautiful day for a beautiful day.
It's blowing up. I think. I think Bhakti is gonna blow up soon.
It's gonna blow up.